Solosaurus, playing for the soul. Victory points, yeah, that's the goal.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another Solosaurus video, and this time I'm going to talk about Bat Flip Dynasty. This is a 2 to 5 player game, but you might ask, why am I covering a game that is 2 to 5 players? Well, it has a solo component to it, and while I know some people aren't a big fan of games that have a solo mode tacking on is kind of a nefarious way of describing a game that has a bad solo system, but this isn't really the case here. I think this is a strong solo system and I enjoy it very much. So I want to bring this to your attention because I want you to keep it in mind if you're interested in baseball type games. It comes, as you can see, in a small box, and we're going to do a little quick unboxing here so you can see what's inside. First, you've got the rule book, which is not all that long. It's only 16 pages. You've got a reference on the back. You can see it's not dense. There's not a lot of content here to get stuck on, and it's really laid out simply. It follows the structure of the game and how it's played and walks you through everything. And it's really simple to do. And then we have the solo rules pamphlet, so to speak, if I can hold on to it. Just two sides, that's it. So you learn the basic rules here for the multiplayer side. The solo rules tacks on a couple of additional rules to it to show you how to play it solo. Then component-wise, we have a lot of money. We have nice little cardboard tokens. They're pretty thick, if you can see them in there. We have 1s, 3s, and 5s. There are championship trophies. These are essentially your victory points that you score during the game. We have a ton of dice, and I'm going to show you these in a second. Extra baggie that I never bothered to use. Then we have some cards. We have a lot of cards here. So first off, we have these team cards slash game overview cards. So this goes over the structure of the game for every player. As you can see, there's 6. So up to 6. I think I said 2 to 5. Did it say 2 to 5 on here? It does. I'll say it's 2 to 6. Sorry. My bad. I said 5, I think. Then here we have a combination of team cards and manager cards. So there's teams on one side. In this game, you are a general manager who's being brought on to bring a team to success, and you're 5 players away from contention, according to the rules. So, of course, a baseball team has more than 5 players, but that's what you're going to play here. And I think these are, maybe you can think of it as the impactful players on your team. So you have a bunch of teams here that you can choose from, but actually you're just going to draw these randomly. And on the other side are managers for your team, or coaches, I should say. These are going to be drawn randomly. As I said, you just kind of shuffle them up. Well, you don't kind of shuffle them, you do shuffle them. And then you draw 2 at random. And then the way it works is you choose one of the teams, and whichever team you choose, like say I'll go for the Detroit Dirtbags, which is a fantastic name, by the way, and flip the other one over rather, and you get the coach from the other side. Or if I choose to go with the San Diego Super Pals, then I have to take this manager instead. All these teams have special abilities, as you can see here, and the coaches actually have abilities as well that are pretty cool. Then we have 144 player cards. There's a lot of cards here, and you have to shuffle them all before you start. So you're going to be doing the laying out the cards kind of a thing to shuffle them up. But the players are all, the detail is pretty amazing. I mean, 144 different players, different art, different names. They're laid out according to, the information is really easy to discern here on these cards, and I'm going to go through these as we learn this game. The other thing that I think is really cool about this is this. Look at this detail. This is a neat little additional bit of detail here. I mean, you can see the stadium along the sides there. You can see it on the outside here, which is really cool. And I thought, whoa, this has some kind of impact in the game. Maybe you actually like put your players on here or something. The first time I was looking at this, but no, this is actually your dice tray. And I suppose if you have your own dice tray, you can use that. But that's where we're going to look at these dice now. This is a nice little silky kind of a bag. I don't like that the drawstring just kind of comes loose. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but there you go. But let's trick the dice out. There are 52 of these. And so on these dice, they're all different sides. There's actually 6 sides to each one. Well, that was a dumb thing to say. These are 6-sided dice, but I mean, each side has a unique symbol on it, I should say. So we have power, which is this little explosion here. We have strike zone, which is the plate. We have arm, which is the arm. We have speed, which is the shoe. Let's see what else we have here. The glove is defense, and then there's a bat. There we go, bat for hit. So every single die is the same. Nothing is different here. And these dice come up during play, and we're going to get into that here in a moment so I can show you how the game works. In a game of Bat Flip Dynasty, you are playing to a certain number of trophies, which, as I showed you before, these little trophies that count as your victory points, essentially. Under winning the game, you can see that there are a number of trophies that you need to win depending on the number of GMs in the game. So if you're playing solo, you're going to be playing the 2GM version, 8 trophies. 1 will be whoever makes it to there first is going to be the player that actually wins the trophy. So let me talk about the structure of the game. So first you have free agency where you sign players. Then we go to the team dice part where we roll our team dice. Then the league dice, which is a nice little mechanic that we're going to go through to do extra dice for our players. Then regular season scoring where we're going to score everything that we've done. Then we have a playoff round. Then we go to arbitration where you can keep or cut players that you have on your team. And then you can promote prospects. So we're going to talk a little bit more about all of that as we go through here. Well, not a little bit. We're going to talk about it quite a bit. What I mentioned before regarding the teams and the coaches, let's talk a little bit more about that. So as I said, I shuffle these things up and I can say, I'm just going to take these first 2. We have the Austin Bangers and the Los Angeles Stars and Scrubs. These have a number of bits of information here. So first off, the art's pretty nice. I like the art on all of these. Actually, let me put this one in here. New York Moneybags. That's kind of funny. They're actually one of the teams with the highest budget, which is up here in the upper right corner. Let me hold that up a little bit closer so you can see it better. And each team, as I said, has a special ability. Here in this case, luxury tax threshold. If you have 3 million or less left over, add 4 wins to your total. And that's your total to your regular season. So they all have different ways of adding wins and extra wins either in the regular season or in the playoffs. Just depends on the team. Like Austin Bangers here, your players get +2 base wins. We'll talk about wins here in a moment with the players. So again, you draw these randomly. You choose which one you're going to play. You're going to either play Austin and Mike Scorelander here, or you're going to take the New York Moneybags and choose Dave Driggs here. And an interesting thing about Mike, I like him because he adds 3 million to your team budget. So, and all these managers also have a wild card spot too that can come into play with dice play. So, all right, so let's talk about the first part, which is the draft. This is the fun part here. Well, the whole thing's fun, but I kind of like this part of it because it's so interesting to me, especially when you first start it. When you're doing the solo game, you're going to draw 7 cards in season 1. And I should have mentioned first off in the solo game, the first thing you're going to do is choose one of these 3 bot teams, the Portland Traders, the Louisville Silver Sox, or the Boston Bots. And the only difference between these is their budget, of course. The Portland Traders have a 23 million budget, then there's 25, and then 27. And the number of wins too. So Portland gets an additional 4 wins, 5 wins, and then 6 wins. So that's added on to their score at the end of the regular season. So these depends on which one you want to have a tougher time. You choose one of these and go with whoever you want there. Let's just say Portland Traders for the sake of argument. So the way the draft works is you have the money, but again, we should have chosen our team. But let's say we were the New York Moneybags, and we'll choose Dave Driggs as our coach. So we have 27 million. So I would take 27 million and put it on my card. So what I want to do is look at these cards and think, okay, out of the first round of the draft, who do I want? Each of these players goes by a cost. So up here, Greg Pressure, for example, he costs $4 million to sign. And you look at them at a glance, you can tell you see dice, you see a position, and you see icons at the bottom with more numbers. So these are pretty simple. The first is the team dice, which is this blue icon, this blue die icon up here at the top. This is the number of team dice you get during that team dice roll phase. The X is the league dice phase. He does not contribute any dice to the league dice phase. So let me find somebody who does. Here we go. Abraham Cash has 1 team die and 2 league dice. So that's how you figure that out. Now the positions are important because you can only have 1 active player from each position in your lineup at a time, except for pitchers. Do we have a pitcher? We do not. So you can have any number of pitchers in your lineup that you want that are active. If you want, you could choose a second baseman and then choose another second baseman, but that other second baseman isn't going to do anything. You have him for your team to maybe use in a future season. That's the only reason to do that. I've not done that yet, but that's the rule, so you can do it if you want. But it's a good idea when you're drafting to go, okay, if I choose a second baseman, then I'm not going to choose another second baseman because that would just be a waste of money and of resource, basically. So looking through these guys, you're looking also at the special abilities, like Javier here. He has a star at the top and long-term contract. I skipped the arbitration phase for this player. So the arbitration phase, at the end of the season, you can cut players that you want and you get the money back. So if I signed, say, Greg here for $4 million and I, in arbitration, cut him later, then that's $4 million I would get back to the team. But if I keep him, I have to spend that plus another $1 million. It's going to cost another $1 million. Sorry, I didn't mean another $4 million. You've already spent the 4 on him, but you have to spend another 1 to keep them, and your budget doesn't change. So you're going to be making some changes throughout, which is an interesting thing. I would think that maybe your team budget may change, but it does not. So let's see. So looking at these guys, we look at these other numbers here. These are the important ones. These are base wins. So Javier here has a base win of 2 and 6. So the number at left is the number you get of wins you get if you're able to fill all of these, but not with these icons. This is the number you get of wins you get if you're able to fill these spots with these icons. So how does that work? Let me draft a team really quick here, and then I will get back and I'll show you how that works. So let me go ahead and draft a couple of players here. The star that I mentioned before is an all-star player. He is probably going to be among some of the better paid players, and they're going to be the more impactful ones, but they also can have effects on the game from other cards. So team cards, manager card, or coach cards, I should say. I forget what it's called, but this guy here. Some of them can impact these kinds of players, so it can affect your wins. But they also obviously cost more. I mean, look at Abraham Cash here. He costs $10 million, but he gets +2 max wins for other Moneybags players on your active roster. So that's another thing that's important that I did not mention before. This icon up here is the player's team, which is a little weird because you're drafting him for your team. What does that mean exactly? Well, I like to think of it as the team they just came from. And I guess if you're playing the New York Moneybags like we are, then he's on your team if you draft him regardless. If you don't, then he goes somewhere else. Supposedly. You're not going to see him come up in the game unless you don't sign him and he happens to be the next highest paid player. What do I mean by that? Well, you look at the numbers of cash that these guys cost. That's how much you're going to be spending. Let me go ahead and spend $10 million here on Abraham, and I'm going to put him, let's see, how can we do this? I don't have a lot of room on my camera. There we go. Let's just do it this way. So we have Abraham signed on our team. Actually, what I do is I put the money on him. Whoops, that was cheap. 10 million. There we go. All right, so we got a pretty decent player here in Abraham. Now, what happens is the solo player chooses the next, or the bot, I should say, chooses the next highest player, and they actually get a budget, as I said. Whoops. Portland here gets 23 million. There we go. So Portland has 23 million. The Automatic team drafts the highest salary player it can afford that does not duplicate a position other than pitcher. So in this case, he is going to sign, this Autobat player is going to sign Javier here because he's 7 million. He's the next highest paid player. He's going to do that. He's going to take 7 million out of his budget and put it on him. And that's it. Now we discard all of these, and we took 7 for this first round. So now we're going to do 6. One thing I didn't mention, prospects. So this character, if you sign him, he's not going to cost you anything, but he's going to go into your minor league. So if I chose to draft him, he would go back behind my other players or off to the side. He would not have an impact on this season at all, but you can bring him in after arbitration, after the season's over, and make him a player if you want. So if they look good to you, then you can actually bring him on if you want. So next, let me see. Let me go ahead and go through another few rounds of drafting, and then we will get to how the game plays. All right, I have my team drafted. I have Frankie Clutch, a third baseman, Caden Buff, a pitcher, Billy Greenback, a left fielder, Abraham Cash, a right fielder, and Yurizabel Carrocero, a catcher. So I have my budget spent and I am ready to play. And I wanted to move things around a little bit. I've got the bots team drafted up here, but I've got them out of the way because I want you to see how this works in a little bit more of a close-up. So first thing we do here is do the team dice thing. So we're going to roll each of these blue die icons. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 icons. I'm going to roll 5 of these dice. And here's where these awesome little dice tray comes from, or comes in. All right, so we have a defense, we've got a couple of bats, we've got a speed, and we've got an arm. So what I'm going to do is look at my players here. What is the best way to fill these icons with these dice? Some of these I can see are already that I can't fill any of them. For example, Caden Buff here, there's no plate icon, so I can't fill that up. I can do the strength, though. So if I can fill these up with the correct icons, then I get the number of wins on the right. If I can't, then I can get the one on the left. So I think what I can do here is put a glove here on Yurizabel. And well, the thing is, when you're considering things like this, you can go look at the number of wins here. So do I want to go for somebody like Abraham? Do I want to put a speed, for example, on him and a bat and just hope I get a power in the league dice turn, which is coming up next, or phase, I should say? Or do I want to put him over here and hope, well, see, there's another thing. I hope to get a power or a plate, which I don't have here. So I think this is the better call here just because he will do pretty well there. And I actually have another New York Moneybags player, Billy Greenback. So according to Abraham Cash's ability, he gets +2 max wins for each other Moneybags player on my active roster. So he's on my active roster. This means I would get 9 if I can fill that power. So I'm going to hope that I can do that. So I'll do that. And these other 3 icons, it just depends. Well, I only got 2 players with the arm icon. And I think maybe, do I go for here? Yurizabel gets +1 max wins for each power icon on your dice, which I don't have any right now. And Caden gets a power icons are considered matching for Caden's die slot. So that's a good one. They're all different though. That's the thing. There's 144 of these guys, and they're all different. So you're constantly going, okay, who do I do? What do I do? And how do I do this? I think I'll just go ahead and put the arm there, and I will put. I don't have a bat icon anywhere, so I can't really do that. So that's another thing we're going to show you how this works. There's the glove icon for defense. Okay, so in this case, I can place this die on one of these characters, but I have to rotate it. The other thing is I can put him over here on my manager's wildcard spot, which I think I will do, because then I can take another die and I can change it to power. So I'm going to do this there so I can fill him up. Now, he is done. Will get these 4 regular season wins because of that. Skips arbitration, so that doesn't count for the game. Okay. So he will do pretty well there for the team. He has a power icon there, so that's considered a matching on Kadira, though, so that doesn't count. All right, so that is set. I can have him done. but I still have other slots to fill, and that's where we go into the next part of the league dice draft. But first, we're going to do the solo side of things. We're going to do the solo bot and see how that works. Move things around to show you the bots team and how this works for them. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did for me as the solo player, but he's going to get a lot more. Well, actually, none there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's going to get 5 dice too. We'll go ahead and roll these, and I'll show you how the solo bot adds those up, or assigns them rather. We have a speed, we have a bat, we have a glove, we have an arm, and we have another speed. So we have quite a bit of speed there. It's pretty much the same that I did. So looking at this, I know this is kind of oddly formatted, but this is the leftmost player. He's next, he's next, he's next, and he's next. So from left to right, it goes from him down to here and then this way. So the first thing that they do is assign any die that matches icons on the player cards from left to right. So the first thing we're going to do is match him. We don't have a plate. Then we have the bat. The first bat is there. Then we have a speed. First speed is there. Next speed, we don't have a speed. We have a glove. Yep, right there. Okay, so now mismatched dice are assigned from right to left. So we'll go this way and automatically fill this icon, I suppose. There we go. So as you can see, I turned that a little bit there. Well, I didn't turn a little bit. I turned it to its side, so you can see that it's not a matching die. And I could do that for my players too. If you fill it up with any one of these being mismatched, then you only get this number of wins here on the left. They're base wins instead of this. If they're all matching, as I said, you get this number here. So let's move now to the league phase, and I can show you how that works. All right, so I have the bot team up here, and I have my team here. So you can see how this league dice phase works. So first, we're going to see how many dice each side contributes to a pool. So with the bots team, there's the red dice here are the ones that we're counting: 2, 4, nothing, 5, 7. So he gets 7 dice, and I'm just going to lay them out here. I don't know if that's on camera, but there he's got 7 dice. And then we have my team, which is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So we have 7. Normally in the multiplayer game, the player who contributes the most dice to the league pool is going to be the one that rolls and gets first pick of the die from that pool. In this case, we're tied. We both have 7. And the tiebreaker is who has the most uncommitted amount of money. We both have spent all of our money. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose me to go first because I can do that. I'm a human being and can't have no dirty bot going first. So what we do is we roll all of the dice in here, and I'm going to separate them out here. Let's see if I can keep that on camera. So I like to organize them out so you can see the different dice. We're going to put this over to the side here where it's still visible. I choose first. I am going to pick one of the dice from this pool to go on any of my player boards. In this case, obviously, I think that the big win here is to take one of these power ones and put it on Abraham. He is now complete. He is going to get actually 9 wins because he's got that special ability of team captain that gives him +2 because he has Billy Greenback on his team too. So that has been chosen. We now go to the bot side of things. So what the bot is going to do is look at the leftmost player, the leftmost space. We have a match. He can take this plate icon and put it right there. So he's going to get wins for that guy. Now it's my turn. There's an arm strength one here. We have a couple more plate icons. He does not have another plate icon. I can look and see he doesn't have any more plate icons, so he's not going to take either of those. So I can make sure, I can make sure that I don't need to take that one. Now the funny thing is, you can be a jerk in the multiplayer game, I think, and know that other player, he's got 2, he's going to need one or both of those. I'm going to go ahead and draft that away, but the bot doesn't do that because he doesn't have any, so I know that he's not going to do that. It's kind of fun how that would work. Let's see. So I think I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off really quick, and we'll show you how the rest of the phase works. I am in the middle of drafting my league dice. I thought I would show you really quick something interesting here. So I am thinking that I am done matching. I can't match anymore. So Billy Greenback here is not going to get any matching icons on any of his spots. So it doesn't really matter. What I want to do is try to trip up the bot as much as possible. So with that, the only matching, well, we have two. We have a bat and we have an arm. So these two here, we have a bat and we have two arms in a glove. So these match. Since this is the leftmost spot, that's the one he's going to pick. But again, I was mentioning before, you can mess up another player. I'm going to just take that out of the way and put it over here and put it on the side to show that it's not matching. So I've just messed him up there. He can't get 6 wins out of this guy now. He still can do 2 though. So in this case, since there's only one matching die now, he's going to take the arm and put it here. And now for me, again, I don't really have a choice. I think I'm going to look at C. There's a power and a bat he's not going to be able to do, and another power he's not going to be able to do any of that. So it doesn't matter what I take, I'll do that. And he's going to take an arm, and he's going to go from right to left. So he'll fill this guy up here. There we go. All right, so we've completed the league draft part of things, and now we're going to do the scoring, regular season scoring. For my side, I have 7, 9, 12, right? Yeah. I can count. I'm an English major. I don't count good. Well, let's do that again. 7, 9, 12, 16. And then he didn't get finished. So I don't know. And that's the one thing I'm not clear on if we. So he's not going to get any wins at all. He didn't finish out his layout here. So that's not going to count for anything, but that's okay. I have 16 wins, which I think is the minimum. So I would get a trophy for having 16 regular season wins. Any team that gets that gets a trophy. So let me see if I can get these out without making too much noise. Sorry about that. There we go. There's our one trophy for the 16 wins. Now we're going to see who has the most wins for the season. He has 2, 6, nothing, nothing, and 4. So he has 10. He does not get a trophy for 16 wins. And I won the regular season, so I get another trophy. This is unusual. Usually the bot team can do pretty well. Now that we've done that, we're going to go to the playoff side of things. Right after the regular season, we've accumulated our trophies. We're going to go to the playoffs and see how this works. This is even more interesting to me because what you're going to do is take all of the dice from your player boards, except for this one, I believe. I'll take these and these and these and this and these, and now I'm going to roll them all into, whoops, we had an extra power, whoops, so I guess I was wrong. He goes there. Sorry about that. I totally missed that back then. We got another power here too. I totally missed that. Well, let's just pretend it is what it is. He's actually got 4, 8, 10, nothing, 14. So he gets 14. He still doesn't get a trophy, but he may. Sorry about that. I messed that up. But we're gonna. You get the idea of how it works. For the playoffs side of things, I take all of the dice from all of my player cards and form my pool of playoff dice. Now, note it doesn't say manager; it just says player dice. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to roll all of these and see what we can get and not miss a die this time. Let me put these all together really quick. Now, this is where the game, sorry, I think I had that off camera there. This is where the game devolves into sort of a Yahtzee type of game where you're looking for the most possible number of matches. So I have 4 of a kind, 3 of a kind, a pair, and then a couple of and 1 pair, and then an outlier here. So this would mean I have, for the 4 of a kind, I have 5 playoff wins. For the 3 of a kind, I have 3 playoff wins. So that's 8. And then for each pair, I have 1 more. So that's 8, 9, 10. I have 10 playoff wins here. So that's the first round of the playoffs. Now we're going to set this aside, and I'm going to take the bot's player dice, and we're going to roll those. I'm going to have to do it separately because I don't want to mix them up and see what they get. Here, all right. So we are now going to match up the bot's dice. So he got 4 pairs and 1 4 of a kind. The interesting thing, though, about this playoff is we now go to a second round, or actually 3 total rounds. So we've done the first one here, and this will change depending on how we want to proceed. For me, I can choose to reroll any of these dice that I want. I'm just carefully put this here so you can see it. But if I roll it, I'm going to pick it up. But I think I'm going to do that because I like these 4. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep these off to the side. But the rest of these, well, there's 3, 2. I'm going to go ahead and keep those just in case. Now I'm just going to go ahead and re-roll all of these pairs and see what I can get. Bat, another pair there, another arm. That's good. And these are kind of useless. These aren't that great. So I have this on, no, not really on camera. So I'm going to put these here to show that I have 4 of a kind in the arm. I have 4 of a kind in the power. So that gives me a total of 10 playoff wins there. I've got an 11th one here from this and then nothing from this. So I have 11 playoff wins now instead of 10. The bot player has a set of rules that he goes by to determine what he's going to do. He will automatically reroll all unmatched dice and all pairs. So he did what I did. He's going to take these 4, or yeah, these 8 rather. I can count, maybe, and see what he gets. So he's going to get, oh no, he got a bunch more speed dice there, and he's probably going to have a big win here, but we'll see how it goes. We have one more round to go. These are all, and well, actually, no, he's got another one there. Jeez. Ouch. So yeah, that's a pair, and these are all unmatched. Whoops, that was unmatched. I can't remember what it was on, but it wasn't. So he's got 5 of a kind gives you 7 playoff wins. Extra ones aren't going to count here, so he's got a ton, and that's just, I think that's the case. I mean, it doesn't specifically say that, oh, he's got 5, you can take these 2 off. I'm gonna play it to where this is 7 that he has here. So now he has 8 playoff wins. He's still doing worse than me, though. That's pretty amazing that he's done there. I'm going to go ahead and keep these arms and these powers, and we're going to go into the 3rd round. I'm going to go ahead and reroll these and hope I get some power or arms. I did get 1 power, so that's something. The power will go here. That's going to be 7 playoff wins for me. And then the 4 there is going to be 5. So that's 12 playoff wins I have in total. He is going to set these aside and reroll these. And I'm going to hope he gets some more speed icons since I'm not counting them. Oh, there we go. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. So he's got 7. He did not do too well in the playoffs. He has 7, and that's it. 7 playoff wins. So let's look at what that does to the final part of the season. So now that I won the playoffs, I get another trophy. So I have 3 now, 3 playoff trophies. And I am doing much better than the bot. This is the best game I've had, and I know I'm not playing it right. So, well, at least because I messed up the die choices earlier, but that's okay. It's not really going to impact the game too much, but still, that's crazy. I've never done that well. Once we've done this, I have the 3 trophies here. As you remember, I said the 2-player game requires you to have 8 playoff trophies, or play 8 trophies to win. I have 3. We're not quite there yet. So what we're going to do now is go into arbitration, which is where my chance to remove player cards from my roster and recoup their salary for the next season. Players that I choose to keep will each increase in price by 1 million. So this is the interesting part of the game. I would reset all my player cards, clear off dice off of managers. If I did not win at least 16 regular season games, any die on my manager remain, so they can be added to my team die next season. So I did win 16, so that's going to come off. I'm going to get all of these out of the way. And in this case, I have some expensive players, and I can't afford to keep them because I have no extra money anywhere except, I got 2 actually. Oh yeah, look at that! I have $2 million. I'm just doing this great, aren't I? Sorry. Well, I would have won anyway, that tie that we mentioned about earlier, and I went ahead and chose it. So lucky me. Okay, so it wouldn't matter. I have 2 million here. I can afford to keep 2 players by adding 1 million to their cards, but ultimately, I'm going to be kind of host here. I'm going to have to get rid of somebody, and I think that means, oh man, I hate to get rid of this guy, but if I get rid of Billy, I'll get 2 million back. I'll do that. Then I'm going to get rid of Abraham as well, because that'll give me 10 million there. So I've done that. I'm going to go ahead and keep these other players. So I'm going to put 1 million on each of them, and now that gives me 11 million to go. The bot player will cut 3 players in the following manner. So first, they're going to cut any 1-year contracts. I don't think there's anybody here. Oh, well, this guy has to be cut in arbitration. That's his rule. So he is going to go bye-bye. And I don't long-term skip the arbitration phase for this player. Cut players starting, cut your 1 year contracts. So specifically, that was that guy. He's gone. Now, cut players starting from the left side of its active roster until three total are cut. So this and this player are going to go to free agency or however that works. They're gone. So now he's recouped $8 million himself. So there we go. We have this number of players. I believe he needs to spend $1 million each on each of his players to keep them. So he now has 6. I have 11. He has 6. I'm in much better shape to sign a couple more players, maybe even get a prospect on the team. But now you see how the game works. We're going to go through another round until we get to the right number of trophies here. So that's how the game plays. Let me talk more about my thoughts now about how the game is and if this gets a stomp of approval. For this game, I didn't expect to like it, to be honest with you. So when I reached out to Scorelander Games and they provided me with a copy of this for review purposes, I actually reached out to them because I was interested in Football U, which is a Dynasty college football game. And I think it's probably going to be played in the same way. I was really interested in that one, but he offered me this. And I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try because it does have a solo mode to it. But I can just figure out how to play it. And I'm thinking I'm not a big baseball fan. I do enjoy the game. I enjoy going to the game more than I actually watching it on TV. But I'm not big statistician. I'm not huge into that kind of thing. So if you are, you're probably not going to like all this randomness with all the dice and all the card draws. But on the other hand, it's a really quick game. Despite the length of this review, I've been talking through it and how to play it. You can see how quick it plays. You can see how fast it is. And once you've got those rules down, man, it just comes quick and it's so much fun. And I did not expect that, to be honest with you. And those of you that don't like randomness in your games, I do a lot of narrative playthroughs. I do a lot of big box games that are pretty intense and have a lot of narrative to them. This doesn't have a lot of that, but it can still tell a story of playing a season of baseball. And I'm pretty amazed at how easily it does that. It's kind of impressive, actually. And again, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I was really immersed in this. And I'm enjoying the process of who am I going to cut? What money do I need to get? Is 11 million going to be enough to move me into the next season so I can maybe keep up my win streak here and beat the bot? The other thing too that I see that's a possibility is maybe playing against multiple bot players. It doesn't say you could do that, but I don't see why you wouldn't want to try it, or even multi-hand the game according to the rules that are in here. So that means randomly choosing a manager and a team for another player or two that are going to be bots and just follow these solo rules and see how that works. I haven't done that yet, but I want to. That's the thing. I see value in the narrative here that is telling the story of these trophies, and you're going across different seasons and you're carrying over players and you're signing additional ones, maybe even getting some prospects that are going to show up on your team later. The whole gameplay aspect I greatly enjoy. It's so much fun to do. That said, everything else about the game, I don't really have any issues with it. The art is fantastic. It's maybe a little cartoony for some people, but I like it. I think it really works well for the style of the game. I mean, the art is it's very intense and very indicative of baseball. Let's just say, at least for me, this dice tray is awesome. I love the artwork in here. The dice are great. I mean, who doesn't like chucking an absolute ton of dice in their games? I do. I admit it. I love Access Knowledge for that reason. Playing, it's very random, but it's so much fun to do this. And it's also another thing too that I have to say about myself is I'm not big on the puzzly aspects of engine building. I'm not usually somebody who likes to have to deal with, oh man, okay, this impacts that and that is over here and this guy might, but it's not that bad because, well, I say that's not that bad. It's not bad here for me because I hear something like that and I'm like, I'm out. I don't want to deal with that. A game like Hadrian's Wall, for example, I know so many of you love that game. I could not deal with it just because there were so many puzzly aspects to how different things interacted, and that just gives me brain burn, and it's too much of a cognitive load for me. So from the solo side of things, from the solo player side of things, this is very light. And the other thing too, being light, being a small footprint in this size of a box, this is a travel game too. You can take this with you anywhere and break it out at the hotel if you're on a business trip, or however you, or on vacation. It's not going to take up a lot of room. It's not heavy. That's going to be great. So the design, the gameplay, as I said, the design, the artwork. There's a few things that I could probably improve. Like the money tokens aren't all that impressive, but I mean they're functional. They work fine. This is the only, but this isn't really a complaint. It's just, it's okay. It does its thing. It's all right. The trophies are kind of too, but I mean, again, it doesn't matter. That's not a complaint at all. It's not a nitpick even. It's just, it is what it is. They're just. I think if you're a type of person like me who would troll on Etsy constantly and try to find improvements for your game, you can probably find stuff. If you really like the game and want to invest in it that way, you can actually find cool stuff to add to it to make it an even better game. I would be scared to look on Etsy to see if there's actually a baseball stadium dice tray. I'm sure there is, and I'm the kind of person that would go do that. But I love this. I usually try to find ways to do that to make things look better on camera. But anyway, this is just a real fun game, and it looks good, and it plays well. And even me, not being a baseball fan, I love it. It's so much fun. So that makes you think, will this get a stomp of approval? Yes, I believe it will. And it's kind of funny because I was always so stingy in the past with giving a stomp of approval. Martin and I would have discussions in the audio podcast, and he would say, I want to give it. And I'd say, nah, I'm not doing it. For whatever reason. I think that a game that is going to get the stomp is going to be a game that's perfect. But I've been rethinking that because I think that if it's fun and it's something you're going to get back to your table, I think if anybody else would like it, you're going to get more mileage out of it. And if that's the case, that's a stomp of approval game. That's a game that you're going to want to invest in. That's a game you're going to want to have on your shelf that you can break out every so often and really get involved and deep into it, even though it's not that thick of a game, so to speak. It's not like breaking out Nova Aetas Renaissance or Robinson Crusoe or Distilled or Role Player Adventures or any other game that has a ton of pieces and a ton of space. As you can see, I mean, I'm kind of compacting things here for this video, but you can see this does not take up a lot of space. It really doesn't, and that's one of the awesome things about it too. Stomp of approval all the way, I think. It might not appeal to a lot of people. It might not, well, most people, just because of the randomness of the dice and the card draws. But for me, again, I like the narrative things. I like having impactful play. I like making meaningful decisions in my games. But I'm doing that here. I'm choosing who I want to sign, which impacts how the bot plays. And that's going to mean more of an interesting game for me. So I can wholeheartedly recommend this as a stomp of approval game. So that is my review of Bat Flip Dynasty by Scorelander Games. Stomp of approval all the way. I think that you guys should go check out their website. I will have that in the description. Buy it if you want, if you're interested. I hope that you got some mileage out of this, and I hope you enjoy the game if you buy it. Let me know your experiences. Please like and subscribe. As I'm doing this and I'm growing the channel and I'm getting more subscribers, that's awesome. And I thank you guys very much for sticking with me and also adding yourselves to my list for getting future videos. I really appreciate that, and I'm going to do my best to be productive and continue that. I have a lot of big plans. I've got other things that I'm working on right now, and this is just something I wanted to get out there, and hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed the game. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Solosaurus